What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video today with the best game mode in the game itself being Grand Party. We absolutely love it. We're shifting things up a little bit this time around. Unfortunately, I couldn't really find like any super duper easy teams, and you could see this Roger team is easy, but I just didn't want to risk it. Even though I did revives and stuff like that, I just felt like, you know what, I really just want to go ahead and trial out Shanks and Buggy as a lead, as a GP lead this for this day. And it's interesting, you know, I feel like there was a little bit of an oversight when they designed this character as a GP lead, and we all know that, you know, when you actually look at it at face value, it basically is a Roger counter. But there is one issue that I have found that is kind of fascinating, right? So the issue is, right, is when you launch the GP special, you want to launch it right after you're inflicted with half stats, such as when the opponent uses their Roger skill. And the thing is in order to get the GP skill of Shanks Buggy, you have to deal 55k damage, and the opponent's GP Roger lead, you have to tank 55k damage. So whenever they can launch their special, you can launch yours. So ideally, they launch theirs, then you go ahead and follow it with your GP burst skill to remove the half stats that was inflicted via Roger. However, the thing is that the special, the GP burst of Shanks Buggy does 2000 fixed damage to all enemies, which means that after the enemy has launched their first GP skill, you use your GP skill. That means you automatically inflict 5 of their characters with 2000 damage, which is 10,000 damage total, and that means that their second Roger skill is going to be ready before your Shanks and Buggy special, unless if you're somehow able to time it in such a way where you can get, you know, around 10,000 damage towards the end, so that, you know, whenever he launches his second burst, you can launch your second burst. So that's the thing is, well, yes, it is technically a counter to Roger, you do have to be very careful, because in that second wave of bursts, he can still launch his special right before you get yours, which could open you up to some really serious damage. So you do have to be very careful about that. It was a little bit of an oversight, I feel like, in the design team. It definitely still is very good versus Roger. And in terms of the leader skill, they boost Slasher, Dex, and Psy characters, so that's pretty good, honestly. But unfortunately, Dex receive a lot of debuffs in this season. Specifically, level 5 HP down is kind of harsh, and also level 3 CT debuff as well. So that can be kind of annoying if you want to build Dex teams this season. But they do boost Psy and they do boost Slashers, so you can actually build pretty good teams, mainly focused around those types of squads. And, you know, if you're using Shanks and Buggy on your team, you have to have a Slasher team. But at the same time, in Grand Party, I'm not really a big fan of this Shanks Buggy as a character on the team. Like, I would much prefer to use Shanks crew, because they're more defensively focused, and then you can have your offensive powerhouses such as, you know, Roger Whitebeard and your K-Dads and your V1 Odins. Even though I will say that Shanks and Buggy, they can do some serious damage in Grand Party, but I feel like the defensive aspects of Shanks crew are going to be a little bit more valuable in this game mode. Anyways, let's go ahead and shift our focus to match number 2, and once again, we're going to trial out the Shanks and Buggy team, and we'll see how things go. So you see that the opponent's first team is a strength-focused team, so I felt like we'll go ahead and shift it up, even though, you know, Shanks Buggy don't boost quick in particular. I mean, you can just build a really solid quick team to take on most strength squads. Specifically Sugar, she helps out a lot, and, you know, you see with this team that, like, Akainu himself has level 25 CT increase this season, because Driven do get level 5 CT. It's just ridiculous. Like, you're just launching specials so fast. Tazora obviously is a really nice unit. Kaido is okay. I think that Kaido's age is definitely showing over the past few months on quick teams. I said it in my previous video as well. With quick teams, I don't unfortunately have you know, some of the other more modern quick units in terms of the Rumble Rare recruits. Porchemi, Blue Jam, Rumble Fuji is a really solid unit too. Legend Orochi, I know that some people are using. Legend Shiki is an option. He's okay, you know, but, you know, still, we'll use Kaido for now. He seems to be doing a pretty decent job, and we can go ahead and pick up the victory there. And obviously, we're just waiting to see, you know, the opponent ended up using their Roger burst right at the end here, and I felt like, you know, there's no real reason to use my my burst skill for Shenk's buggy. I'll just wait until they use their second Roger burst, and I can counter that one, because at this point it was kind of a waste of a skill to do that. Because remember, as we touched up on, the fact that the Shenk's buggy GP burst does damage, it means that that would automatically charge the opponent's you know, GP burst, so that they could get their effect before we can launch ours, and that can be a little bit detrimental to us, as we are using a relatively frail slasher team versus Dex. But then again, like, the fact that Roger Whitebeard exists really helps out versus Dex. You know, the huge health cut and damage through defense really nullifies a lot of what Dex tries to do, and especially in this season with the lowered CT and the lowered HP, it actually makes things a lot easier. And you do see that the opponent uses their Roger burst, we counter it with the GP burst, and then we can go to town on the opponent, which is so good. Moving on now to the final match, and I ended up switching it back up to the old faithful Goldie Roger. We ended up switching it back because, you know, I just felt like more comfortable doing it that way, and considering that I actually didn't see a Roger as one of the leads that I could challenge, or the Rogers that I did see, because I did end up using a refresh, the Rogers that I came up against, like, there were insanely high powerful teams, 150s across the board, driven teams, free spirit teams, and then you got your side team, of course, and it looked really threatening, and I didn't feel comfortable challenging them. After a refresh though, I did see this opposing team with Strength Kid as the lead, and when I see that, man, that definitely gets me excited, because I know that should be a relatively comfortable match. We do see here that the first team that we're coming up against is an int team, and I was pretty threatened about this one, honestly, but we decided to see how it actually went, because I was super confident in the other two teams, that even if we did end up losing this first game, I felt confident that the other two teams were going to pick up victories pretty comfortably. Luckily for us, though, we actually do end up squeaking out the victory versus this int team, and yeah, it's a very, very bulky team, and somehow, some way, we're able to pull it out. And, you know, obviously the opponent does have level 5 CT, because, you know, majority of them are driven, which definitely helps them out. So they are able to launch their specials a little bit quicker on their side, and, you know, we got a little bit unlucky in terms of the positioning of the opponents on their first wave of specials. Like, Odin only hit one character, obviously not good, and when Yamato launches her special to inflict half stats, but then she actually doesn't hit that character that she inflicted with half stats, definitely reduces the you know, the successfulness of being able to win that match. But either way, we move on to the second game, which is going to be the Slasher team versus the Dex team, and we go absolutely wild bonkers to the wall, dude, with this team. This team was so good. We get a little bit lucky in terms of using the Roger burst, you know, inflicting half stats, and then Shank's buggy basically just wipes the floor with the opponent. This is not a very good Dex team in Grand Party. I mean, you could maybe get away with it in normal Pie Rumble, but not this season. Not really in Grand Party in particular. You really need that Super Tandem Luffy to help you get those revives. You know, Mihawk's cool, and you know, Cat Dog, you know, they're pretty good in normal Rumble, but in Grand Party, it just ain't gonna cut it. I'll leave you guys with the rest of this video, as we get a legend ticket towards the end here, which is a lot of fun, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
"俺の代わりにワノ国を開国してほしい."